Is This a Ghost is sponsored by Pickney Bend Distillery. Gosh, it's, let me look at my calendar. I think it's the new year. When is this episode coming out? It's the new year. Wow, boy.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Let us be this is the third.
Let's be like maybe the 12th
and 20th people to wish you a happy new year, friends. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. Pat, how has 2024 been for you so far?
It's been really good. I wasn't expecting Donald Trump to be taken off of the national ballot. That was a good development.
We thought it was a gift. The Colorado was a gift, and then wow, they moved so fast after that. It was like dominoes fell.
Really wild. Yeah. So
I also didn't think the moon would explode the way it did. That was surprising.
I mean, I always kind of knew it would explode someday. Things have been too good too long for the moon.
That's right. That's right. It's been basking in its glory up there.
But yeah, coinciding with the new year there.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to celebrate that, or I guess if you're listening to the wrong podcast, be sad about that, then the way you could do that is with Pickney Bend Distillery. Pickney Bend did not explode during the holiday season.
They were spared.
Probably.
Thank God.
Probably, yeah, I think so. They made their sacrifices to the cold and vengeful gods that live beneath the ocean, and they have been spared. And you can still revel in their glory by going to PINCKNEYBEND.com. Pickney Bend. They make the greatest gins, the greatest whiskeys. They make the best stuff on earth. They're small feels like no longer the right word. They're growing so fast all the time, but they're the little distillery that could out in New Haven, Missouri, where the biggest exports are cows and air, and now also Pickney Bend, I think. So go check out our friends at Pickney Bend and follow them on social. Tell them Patrick sent you, and don't tell them the stuff that I've said about them.
Yeah. Also explain who I am to them. They'll wanna know.
They have no point of reference. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new year. Dare I say season? Dare I get Patrick's hopes up and say season?
Is it season 3?
Is This a Ghost?
Oh my God.
It is season, I guess, 3.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Season 3 debut. I didn't even realize it. I wasn't looking at the calendar.
No, we're recording way ahead of time, so it's a surprise for all of us. And welcome to the show, folks. This is a weekly podcast. We do this every week. It's fun.
Yeah.
And my name's Clayton Smith. My whole thing is I tell a real ghost story from real history to my real friend Patrick Dean, who doesn't take it real seriously. And that's it. I got nothing else. That's all.
Yeah, that's basically what we do. And if your New Year's resolution was to listen to more inane podcasts by two kind of sad, tired dads, then welcome. Really.
Then we have great news for you. Check it off the list. You've come to the right place.
So
that stuff is so good.
Oh my God, I know. I love that. My favorite thing about Piggyback is it's not marketed or really sold as something to be drank straight. It's like, oh, the best, the best mixing rye on earth. And I'm like,
why would you?
I got bad news, dude.
Got a lot of ryes that I would mix with stuff. Piggyback is so good.
A Christmas sale on it. Oh, fuck.
They usually have it at Costco around this time of year for pretty cheap. I should go. I'll drop by tomorrow and see if that's the thing. Oh, it's a treat. It's a treat. It's no Pickney Bend whiskey, but it's that's a lot of tongue.
My phone even fucked up for a second whenever it saw that flash. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Buddy. It's even got a little bit of the medicine-y smell to it too.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Put you in a wagon and send you town to town. That's what you need.
Indeed.
Ready to go.
I'll ride in the bottom of the wagon. Thank you very much.
Feeling good? Man, feeling proud? Feeling strong, my friend?
Just great. Breathing fire over here, man. Breathing absolute fire.
I bet when we actually record after the new year, we'll have all sorts of like fun things to share about the holidays and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna make
Who
any
got
predictions?
sick?
Yeah.
No. Well,
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to say of my immediate family, the 5 of us,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 40% of us threw up on Christmas. That's what I'm going to say.
From how many from alcohol the night before?
I'm not going to, I mean, that wasn't part of it. It was just a,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
That's safer.
blanket prop bet right there.
Okay.
2 out of 5 barf on Christmas.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Be better than last year.
Our kids have been remarkably well all this season so far. Like,
My goodness.
they have not missed a day of school this winter season yet, which I'm sure I've just jinxed by saying that out loud into a microphone. But this isn't going to go out until January, so we'll be past it by then.
You come upstairs and it's like, so Maple has rubella somehow. I'm not entirely sure what happened.
I thought we got rid of polio, but it's back in our daughter.
We're going to need to go visit an old priest and a young priest. So,
Yeah, the one who has been taking the brunt of the illness in my family is surprisingly this year it's me.
oh,
I'm doing it. I have a
congratulations.
sinus infection now. Thank you. It's pretty cool. And then for the last week, I've been dealing with shingles because I am a 90-year-old
very
man
old-
in spirit.
I'm sure your doctor's probably like, well, we do have a vaccine for it technically, but it's really for,
We like to reserve them for the AARP crowd.
yeah, for the frail, let's just say.
I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "That's shingles, my man." And I bet he has never said those words together in that sequence
Without
his
having to
entire
like,
life.
without having to like yell it right afterwards. I said you have shingles.
You can't call an
man.
80-year-old person my man. Like, it's got to be someone who's a contemporary. That's it. So he's been sitting on that for a long time. It turns out it's real painful and also really itchy at the same time.
Itchy and painful.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's been a treat.
Mhm.
And now I have a sinus infection.
Good. Do you have it on like a really discrete part of your body, or?
Discreet depends on who's asking.
Okay. I mean, it's winter time, so like anything below the neck is probably discreet. So
Yeah, it's mostly It's not on my head, my neck, my fingertips, or my toesies. So
okay.
it's
Is this the game we're gonna play?
yes, undress me with your mind. And find my
20 questions. Oh, where are my shingles?
They're on my left rib cage, and then they spread
okay.
around a little bit to my back and a little bit like up under my the chest, just a bit.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time. I moved all my classes from my last week of school onto Zoom because the doctor was like, you have to be in quarantine because even though chickenpox, which is the virus, the chickenpox virus causes it. So even though they've gotten rid of that, which I don't think I knew. I know my kids have gotten the chickenpox vaccine. It never clicked in me like, oh, chickenpox is gone now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing. But he's like, it's still you can still catch it. It's still bad to be around pregnant women and stuff. And I teach in college, so I was like, well, I'm not gonna like ask them. Like, that doesn't seem appropriate.
Also, it's like not really ever a good time to be around pregnant women, just from my own experience being around pregnant women. Just like, Doc, believe you me, that ain't in the cards.
So I was on Zoom for the last week of my classes, sitting like this, like at an angle like this, kind of like
nude, right?
Nude, totally nude, but medically nude.
Yeah,
medically so.
Experimenting with those new Twitch filters they have.
Yeah. They have this really cool. They have a really cool. It's a holiday festive ugly Christmas sweater filter, which was, it worked out 80% of the time, which was plenty. But yeah, trying to lean away from the left side so I could not have my clothes driving me insane, which is what they've been doing for most of the week. I'm on the mend, feeling pretty good. So
what's the treatment? Is it just tearing all your skin off? Is that how it works? Or
that's one way to go.
Yeah,
it's an option. The other option is Valtrex, which makes you feel like you can't tell people what you're on for because they'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you have herpes."
Now we're getting into the college lifestyle here. Okay,
yeah,
I
exactly.
see now,
And then you're legally obligated to say, "Well, I do have herpes. Technically, that's true. It's just a different kind of herpes." But by the time you say that, they've lost interest and they've backed away.
Yeah.
So
Girls don't want to be hearing that different kinds of herpes stuff. They're like,
oh, baby, no, it's
Yeah.
it's the good herpes.
Yeah.
Don't worry. They don't like that. So so that's been life the last week.
Cool.
Yep.
Very good and cool.
Yeah. So got a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started today.
Mhm.
Number one is I keep forgetting to say all these things. I got to write them down. So I did. And there's two of them. Number one, we talked about 2 weeks ago. Maybe last week too. We got to stop recording these out of order. Merch is coming. We got merch coming on the website. In the new year, we've got some fun stuff. So we'll make a big announcement, but if you're not following us on social media, it's a good place to see some teaser content about some of that stuff. And the more merch we sell, the more money we can give to our unpaid interns, Jen and Jeremy, who
turn into poorly paid interns, really, which I know is their goal. Their goal in all this.
I think it's a lifelong dream to be poorly paid interns instead. No two people have earned money better and complained about not getting that money less than these two folks. So keep an eye on for that. And also keep forgetting the note. If you have an opportunity, everyone, to hear a free ghostie. So there was a time toward the beginning of this show where Pat and I started recording ghosties. These were short episodes, which if you listened last week, you heard one. We did these kind of shorter, like 20-minute, 25-minute episodes that were ghosties. We did them as extra bonus content, but for some reason, no one listened to them. They were not downloaded very much. So we said, well, we'll stop that, I guess. But now it seems the listeners we've picked up in the last, since month 6 are really into it. So if you want to hear a ghostie, you can join our mailing list and we will automatically send you the ghostie, a short bonus episode of Jeff, the Talking Mongoose.
Oh my goodness.
Which is an absolute classic. Pat, what do you remember about Jeff, the Talking Mongoose?
I mean, the title really sort of says it all. It's just a blessed little episode. Takes a hard left turn, and again, the most important part of this is it was famously adapted from our podcast episode into a major motion picture.
I think so, and so we'll be contacting lawyers about that. It was roundly
panned. So
I don't think it got good reviews, so maybe we should just stay out of it. Well, Simon Pegg did the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, but I recall the reviews basically said, this was basically a podcast stretched into a feature-length film, and they probably should have left it where it was.
And they were not wrong.
Yeah. Come see where it started, where it all started.
And we also talked about the Isle of Man. I learned a lot about the Isle of Man that week from you.
What a horrifying episode that was.
Deadliest fucking race on the planet. The motorcycle race? Is that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you want to listen to that episode, it's really good and really just one of the wildest things we've ever recorded. Go join our mailing list. If you go to isthisaghost.com, you'll get a pop-up to join our mailing list. And do that. You'll get the ghostie for Jeff, the Talking Mongoose ghost. And it's and go do that. It's great. It's worth it and great. Do you have any housekeeping announcements, Pat? Do you want to share before we dive in?
No, nothing. Literally nothing has changed since last week. So
okay. How's Gloria doing?
Okay. Well, so one thing has changed. So Gloria,
the structure of her skeletal form.
Yeah.
Has changed a bit.
It's in bad shape. So Saturday, she was we're over to our cousin's house. Doing the Christmas thing with the extended family and watching some football and exchanging gifts and all that kind of good stuff. And Gloria decided it was time to do ninja shit in the basement. And she is, God love her. She's not a gymnast. I think she'd be the first person to admit. And she was trying to do that. In the Bruce Lee movies when he's laying down on the mat and he does the jump up from the laying on his back,
hands back and then go up and
and he springs forward. Yeah, so that cool as shit, right?
Very cool,
absolutely
very
cool.
Cool. I've always wanted to try that. Was always afraid I'd break my arm.
Yeah, so it turns out that's very realistic fear, because if you do it wrong, you do break your arm catastrophically. So. Yeah, it turns out to be a very, very expensive choice to make for your parents.
Cool way to break an arm, though.
She looks so freaking cool. It was
coolest way.
Right up until you heard it snap was
less
very
cool, I guess, probably.
Yeah,
but
so yeah, So she was in excruciating pain for 45 minutes until we got her into a urgent care at 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday. You can imagine how many of those are open.
Poor kiddo. How's she doing now?
She's doing great. Has her semi-permanent cast on, so that should be in that cast for another 4 weeks, and then she'll be back to doing ninja shit after that. So
is she saving me a space to sign it when I come home in a week?
She is. She did say that. She did say, "quote You can't draw on it. You can only write your name.
Oh, come
Why would
on,
I want
Gloria.
a picture of it?"
Did you tell her that I've been practicing?
I have. I said.
Did you show her my work?
I did. Well,
you got.
I don't know if that's. Yeah, I don't know.
You gotta show her. No, you gotta show her the work. Look, if she's already saying no, she can't go less than no. So you got to show her the work.
I will show her the work. So yeah, maybe she'll agree to it. I don't know. Again,
all right. Well, I mean, signature is good. That's fine. That's something. Oh man, my goddaughter is so much cooler than me. I would have tried that. I wanted to. My entire childhood was just me wanting to do that every day for like 20 years. You know, didn't have the guts, but she did.
Yeah. Well,
our little Icarus did.
Yeah.
And
Bruce Lee famously was not trying to throw a 6'6" frame through the air.
Well, that's part of it. So the older I got and the taller I got, the less it seemed like it was going to happen for me.
I don't recall seeing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar do it at any point in the movie. So
that's fair. Thank you for saying that. Will, do you want to hear a ghost story?
I'd love to.
All right. So in the year 1883, two ranchers from Eagle Creek, Arizona, went out to check on their cattle. While they were out, the ranchers' wives, both of their wives, they heard dogs barking outside, followed by a loud scream.
Ooh. Okay.
That's not what you want.
No.
So one of the women goes to the window to see what's happening. She sees what she described as a, quote, huge reddish-colored beast that was ridden by a, quote, devilish-looking creature.
So a beast ridden by a creature.
Yeah.
So two different beings.
Yes,
one riding the other.
Being on being violence.
Being on being action.
Yeah. And so this woman who saw that, she refuses to leave the house.
Who knows what it's going to ride next?
Very intelligently. So she refuses to leave the house. But the other rancher's wife, she's like, well, I'm gonna go check it out.
She's a little curious what it sounds like.
She's been a little cold the last few nights. And she's just like, I don't know. No harm in it.
I mean, we're just gonna talk.
So a little while later, the two ranchers come back from the fields, and they find the woman who went out, the one man's wife who went out to check on them, they find her trampled to death.
Oh, no, it didn't work out.
It didn't work out. Another little Icarus.
Flew too close to the beast, I see.
So they follow the footprints because they're not happy, obviously. They're going to go take some unholy vengeance on this pair of things.
Sure.
They follow the footprints of the beast, and they eventually find a clump of coarse red hair caught in a bush. Now, a few days later, some nearby prospectors reported a huge creature had run through their campsite, and the same coarse red hair was found at that site.
Okay.
So now we're starting to develop a pattern.
I see. Of running.
Of a big scary thing running away real fast. The creature was spotted again a few days after that and was described as 30 feet tall and having knocked over 2 wagons.
Wow. Oof.
It's a big beast.
I bet he couldn't do that Bruce Lee jump up thing. Not even
Definitely
close.
Not. I'd love to see him try. One man said the creature disappeared into thin air when he chased after it.
That's quite something for 30 feet tall. Like you're the size of an apartment building.
Yeah.
And you just poof.
I think about how hard it is for me to get lost in a crowd. If I was 4 times as tall as I am, that would be, I assume, harder. A few men camping in the mountains a little bit later watch the red creature kill and eat a grizzly bear.
I don't know about that. I mean, that seems...
So you're into the 30 feet tall, but not so much killing a
totally
grizzly
willing to
bear.
buy that. Well, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like it might be kind of gamey. If you're 30 feet tall, you can eat anything. Why would you fuck with a grizzly bear?
But what would you eat that would fill your 30-foot stomach?
Good point. Probably
Big
just
tree?
graze. Yeah, graze. I'd mostly graze.
So, no one who saw the red monster could say what kind of animal it was, but every single one of them agreed that the thing on its back was a skeleton.
Oh, okay. The
second
creature.
creature riding this beast was a skeleton.
Wow.
And they started calling this thing the
Please have a
red
cool name.
ghost. I don't know. What would you call it?
Oh God. It's quite the opportunity here. So we've got 30 foot
Don't screw it up.
30-foot tall red beast.
Uh-huh.
Ridden by a skeleton.
Eats grizzly bears.
I can't call it Clifford, can I? Because of copyright.
I feel like we don't want to test that water. Yeah.
Okay. So we're not going to call it that. That thing that Jeremy just bleeped out, right?
Jeremy, are you listening?
30-foot red beast. Boy. And maybe the red ghost is okay. The red ghost?
Not bad, right? Yeah. The red ghost.
Okay, fine. I don't have any, I mean,
yeah, you really embarrassed yourself here today. So let's get into the history of the red ghost, and we'll do that in just a second. But first, I got to tell you, once again, we are sponsored by Smart Labels, the good folks of Smart Labels. It's a brand new year, and you're probably thinking about your New Year's resolutions. I would assume you better be. If you haven't thought about them by now, you're in trouble.
You've already given up on one of them, I bet.
Oh, at least this is.
You're going to go to the gym every morning, right?
Fourth.
Yeah. You're going to go to the gym every morning. You did that once. The gym was a little crowded, and you thought,
I'll pick this up in February.
Then you were going to give up alcohol.
Pick it up in February.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then you're like, no.
You have a dry January, and then all of a sudden,
okay, friend.
Yeah.
Nice try.
So now today's the 4th.
Today is the
ish.
Let me look at this. As the listener, it's a third. It's third.
The third. So it's the third. So you've given up on 2 of the resolutions now. Right, the third. And so the third one is you're going to get your shit organized.
That's the one.
Right?
That's the one.
That one's going to stick. That's a little bit easier one. That's a little bit.
And
less
listen, friends, you need one to stick. You only had 3 resolutions. You've already blown through the first 2. It's day 3. It's not going great. You need this.
You're barely back at work yet, and you've already lost out on the other 2.
Yeah. In order to make it through this year, you need to hang on to one resolution. This is the one. Get organized, and you can do that with our good friends at Smart Labels. So at Smart Labels, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to Amazon. You're gonna download. God, your toilet is just throwing me off a little bit.
Oh, I can see it on the audio track.
Yep. So we are gonna have to cut some of this audio. Sorry, Jeremy. Oh, there's a person in your background. Hey, Stella.
There's nobody back there.
Okay. What? Oh no!
That's weird.
Should we wait till the toilet's done? Oh, you're just not gonna talk. Okay, that's cool. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to Amazon.com. You know that website, and you're gonna type in Smart Labels, one word. You're gonna search it, and you're gonna find Smart Labels. And these are going to save your life. They're going to save your resolution. They're going to save your life. You're going to order some. They're going to come to your door. You're going to download the Smart Labels app. You're going to use that app and the labels in conjunction. The labels have QR codes. They're color coded. You're going to put them on things you want to organize, put them on boxes, put them on bags, put them on, I don't know, humans running around your house doing whatever. And boy, Stella, worst time, huh? Sorry, Jeremy.
And Jen.
And Jen, yeah, that's a twofer. You're gonna put them on everything, and you're gonna tell your phone. You're gonna scan it. You're gonna say, "Hey, this is what's in this box, or in this bag, or in this person. Here's where I'm storing them for the next, I don't know, 12 months or whatever." And you're just gonna always know where that thing is. It's gonna help you stay organized, help you know where your organization is. It's as you're putting away your Christmas stuff. It's a time of season when things are coming down. Like, this is the time. This is the time. Time is now
Mhm.
Time is now to realize your organizational dreams. Live up to your New Year's resolution. Use smart labels.
One of them at least.
At least one. You've already really, really mucked up to minimum. I mean, probably more. This is your chance. So go get some smart labels. Organize your stuff. It's been great for me. As you're hearing this, Patrick has some labels. Patrick, have you been enjoying them?
I have been, yeah.
It's tough because I haven't actually. We're recording 3 weeks.
No, I'm sure I've been really enjoying them.
I bet you've loved them. I bet they've changed your life. Talk about that.
Yeah, I bet my life is totally upside down now. Upside down, but
it used to be right side up badly, and now it's upside down in a good way. And yours can be upside down in a good way too. So please go check out our dear friends at Smart Labels. Again, go to Amazon. That's the best place to get them. Smart Labels, one word. Find them, buy them. You will not regret it. They're wonderful, and really see your resolution through. Okay, Pat. Now, as we transition back into the show, I actually took the liberty of finding some actual text from Winnie the Pooh. I thought maybe you could just kind of read, and Jeremy can do the music thing.
Absolutely.
So I'll put that in the chat right now. So go ahead whenever you're.
Appreciate that. Yes, okay. Here is Edward Bear coming downstairs now. Bump, bump, bump on the back of his head behind Christopher Robin. It is, as far as he knows, the only way of coming downstairs, but sometimes he feels that there really is another way. If only he could stop bumping for a moment and think of it. And then he feels that perhaps there isn't. Anyhow, here he is at the bottom, ready to be introduced to you, Winnie the Pooh.
I have so many thoughts. I know this is not a Winnie the Pooh podcast, but I have so many thoughts about this.
Yeah.
This does come from the first book. And what? I'm sorry, his name's Edward Bear, and he just only bumps his way down the stairs on his head. But he's also, anyway, we don't have time, but we're back. I'm back.
I'm back.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
You sound like you're half back, but
I've not, since I found this quote from the book Winnie the Pooh, or Pooh at Bear Corner, or whatever.
It's called Pooh. It's actually the first one just called Pooh.
Yeah. I have not been able to stop thinking about it because I have so many questions. Anyway, it's back to our podcast. So, all right, we talked about the red ghost, and now let's get into the history. I'm going to take you back a little bit, Pat.
Even further.
As soon as America was a country, we were like, let's get more of it.
More country?
Let's get more country.
Why not?
Yeah.
There's more out there.
That's right.
I keep looking out there. There's more in my backyard.
I see more land. Haven't hit ocean yet.
Mm-hmm.
So let's keep going.
We hit a really scary river. But
it was big and muddy. We didn't like that. But thus begins the process of westward expansion. And that plan went really well for a while. As you may know, in 1803, we made the Louisiana Purchase, wherein we bought 530 million acres from the French for $15 million.
Oof, absolute steal.
It was. I did a little math. So 15 million today is about $408 million, which makes it about 77 cents an acre.
Seems low.
Feels low.
I mean, the Earth is only so big. Like they're not selling any of it for that right now.
They are making new land in, I guess, like Hawaii.
Got to be more than 70 cents an acre. Got to be.
It's going so slowly though. Yeah, it's not worth that. So the Louisiana Purchase, we know we have a lot of European listeners, so I'll just, in case you're not sure, this is where we got the Great Plains, basically. This included Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota. It's all the best states.
Right, yeah. All the famous ones.
Yeah. We also got parts of Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, Eastern Colorado, a little corner of New Mexico, the very top of Texas, and about half of Louisiana.
Which is weird because like they named it after that and they couldn't even put the whole thing in there. Kind of
Yeah,
shame.
it was a very small part. But the good news about that is we did get New Orleans, which is hell
It's a
yeah.
real jewel right there.
That was the one thing that this whole purchase had going for it.
Yeah.
So that was nice. So as America's expanding across all that land, they're like, this is really great. It's so easy to walk across flat land and shoot people who have never seen guns.
Yeah. Who don't realize we just bought this land.
Right.
Like,
This is our land,
Yeah.
and it's flat and it's grassy, and they have, I don't know, sticks. This is so good. Like, we love this. So that went really well for those murderous fucking
Yeah.
Europeans.
Real bad for some people. Like, real bad.
Sure did. But once they got to the western edge of all of that, they ran into a pretty significant problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that problem was called the Rocky Mountains.
I guess that's kind of how you, because I'm thinking to myself, how do you tell when you're done? Like when you're going across the Louisiana Purchase, how do you tell where you're like, okay, this is the edge of Wyoming. This is where, we don't own anything 20 feet that way.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I
think the Rockies are a pretty good line of delineation here. And I didn't look this up, but I'm pretty sure it's why the French stopped there, because they're like, no, we are good. The fuck these mountains. No.
When they're like negotiating for the Louisiana Purchase, they're like, you can have all of the land up until the murderous mountains. The what?
Serene,
you'll
calm,
see.
Beautiful mountains.
You'll see when you get there. But that's as far as we've been.
Yeah.
And
actually, would you mind buying? We don't like being so close to them. Can you please? You know what? 70 cents an acre. How does that sound? Sound fair?
Yeah.
Sound fair? Come on, please. So the American explorers, they go out west, and it's going really well until they get to the mountains, and the Rockies, are fucking huge. They're no Alps, but they're like the American Alps. So these explorers are like, what the fuck? Like, maybe we can go around them, because it's hard to go over them. You and I have gone over them together in a car.
Yeah, in
modern times.
Yeah.
In an Impala, and Bridget the Impala, and we even had to stop for a while because it was
even Bridget had a hard time getting over the mountains.
We had to pull into that gas station while it was snowing,
right at the tippy top.
Right at the tippy top. So, if it's tough for us, I'm sure it's tough for them.
Must have been like at least twice as hard for somebody in a fucking
at least
Conestoga with like two dead horses they're dragging behind them.
No, it was twice as hard, but we suffered a lot, but I bet they did too.
Yeah, absolutely. I had that hot dog that didn't agree with my stomach.
I know. They didn't have to deal with that shit. They were so, in some ways they didn't realize how lucky they were. But we did meet some interesting characters in that snowed-in small gas station at the very top of the Rocky Mountains.
One of the best legs of the trip right there. You drive straight up until the road just stops, and there's a policeman just like, get off the road. We're all gonna die. Okay, that's fine.
Us and truckers and mountain people, and in a gas station that was pretty small. So they have basically that same problem. Like it's hard to go over it. So can we go around them? So some went north, which
I assume that went poorly.
Yeah, you've heard of the Donners, and etc. And then some went south.
Better idea.
Yeah, the ones who went south were very excited to learn the mountains do get smaller. However, they were a little less excited to learn that they also became the Sonoran Desert.
Well, what the fuck is this? This is no better.
Yeah, and I don't, Sonoran, I don't know if you spent much time out there, obviously, other than our trip out there, but the Sonoran is, it's a high altitude desert. So it's like, you're still really high, but it is suddenly you're like in fucking desert. So I imagine it's probably pretty confusing to a bunch of people who are British or born in, New Hampshire.
What new hell is this? I don't know. I've never seen this before.
It doesn't make any sense. And the American Southwest is brutal, it's, so they start to go across it, but these are not desert people. They're river people, they're Appalachian people, some of them are British people. And I just, so it's bad. So people are dropping dead from hunger and thirst constantly. Horses are dying like left and right. No one here is prepared for how little water there is in this land that they were like, Again, it's been so easy till now. Suddenly it's very hard. And I wrote this down. I think if you think about it, like at this point, most of the people trying to cross America probably have not, it's possible most of them have not even read about what a desert is.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know, so it's just like Dave's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Your frame of reference is like, you know, England, New England, which was so similar. They just called it New England.
Right.
And all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is cursed.
This is bad. This
is very bad.
Cursed. So it's not going well. Now the US government is really upset at this time because they're like, we could be making money out there. We have to find a way to do that. So it's of course a huge problem, and they have to find a way to make crossing the desert easier.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1836, U.S. Army Lieutenant George H. Crossman has an idea. And his idea is
the Hyperloop?
The Hyperloop. Well, in a way, his idea is the above ground analog Hyperloop of 1836.
The outdoor Hyperloop. Yeah. That makes
Camels.
sense. not close. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's something at least for a train in all this, but didn't even get trained. Okay.
Nope. So he thinks camels are the thing for us. He sends a report. So Crossman sends a report to the War Department laying out a plan for using camels in the military. The War Department thinks this is so stupid.
This sounds pretty dumb.
Not.
Yeah.
Like, fuck up. They don't even reply to his letter.
Yeah.
So the idea of using camels lies dormant for several years until 1847, when Lieutenant Crossman meets, quote, another camel enthusiast. And a man named
Are they on a camel form or something? I'm not entirely sure what's.
This man's name is Major Henry C. Wayne of the Quartermaster Department of the U.S. government.
So the horse department. Okay.
The horse department, horse and goods.
Mm-hmm.
And together, Crossman and Wayne submit another report to the War Department requesting that they import camels to America.
Why not?
I mean, well, I'll tell you, the War Department says, here's why not. This is so stupid. This is too stupid to take seriously. So they say no again.
We've been feeding you thousands of horses for 10 years.
I think
nothing to show
is the right
for
word
it.
to use.
Yeah. Just funneling horses into your department.
So they're like, absolutely not. Stop asking us. But this time, the proposal did catch the attention of a U.S. senator. A senator from Mississippi whose name was Jefferson Davis.
Oh.
The worst possible one to catch the attention of. Do you want to, for our friends in Great Britain, do you want to describe? Do you want to say what you know about Jefferson Davis?
Jefferson Davis was declared by his followers as the president of the Confederacy.
That's later, though.
Some year, yeah. I mean, at this point, he's just any other camel enthusiast in the Senate. I mean,
that's right. Now he's just United States Senator.
Yeah.
So Jefferson Davis, future head of the Confederacy, thinks actually this is a pretty good idea. And he quote tried for several years to acquire approval and funding for the project.
Mm-hmm. Did they put like a cool acronym? Like nowadays, all the good projects.
Well, there's no good acronym. There's a good name though, which we'll get to shortly.
Okay,
so
good.
No on the acronym.
I was hoping there was. Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna be disappointed. So still, everyone in the War Department is like, stop. This is so stupid. Like we've said no so many times. Please stop.
Jefferson Davis, this is the worst thing you've ever done. That's what they're saying.
And you got to hand it to him. I'm sure it was at this point. And he said, hold my beer. So this goes nowhere until 1853. And you'll notice we are creeping up now onto the Civil War. Yeah. Which was what, 1861, I think it started? Mm-hmm. So we're getting there. 1853, Jefferson Davis is now appointed U.S. Secretary of War. That's a bad move.
I mean, well,
In hindsight,
yes, in hindsight,
mistake.
yes. But if you're only in this for the camels,
well, great move.
yeah, I mean,
Best
honestly,
move.
there are worse moves.
That's true.
At
That's
this
true.
point. Like finally, my guy is getting promoted up to where he belongs.
Yeah.
At a camel appropriating position.
Boy,
He has some strong.
right you are.
He has some strong views on other things, but really,
But we gotta get these camels in here.
I can look past that for now. I can hold my nose and accept these camels.
Oh boy. Oh boy. So just move my arms. I feel uncomfortable with what you've said. So now that he's Secretary of War, he can finally present the idea of camels to Franklin Pierce, who is now president, and the entire Congress. So at long last, after a long time, Congress finally takes up a vote on the camel plan. And this time it passes.
Yes. Fantastic.
Jefferson Davis is given $30,000 to purchase and import camels, quote, to be employed for military purposes.
So if an acre of land costs
77 cents.
7 cents, I can imagine $30,000 probably buys somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000 camels. I mean, that's just like a round number, really.
You know, land is so much less valuable than camels. So,
well, okay, you can't eat land, but all the same, I mean,
well, you could eat camels.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's
maybe
what you're saying.
camels
Oh, yeah, I see now.
Yeah,
I see. You
so
could
maybe
eat,
well,
you
okay,
could eat grass. You could graze.
10,000 camels. How many camels are we talking here?
It's I'll tell you, it's a disappointing number of camels.
A disappointing number of camels is my favorite mathcore band of all time, by the way.
So they get to work and they God. So they outfit a Navy store ship called the USS Supply, which is
it's like the most boring ship to be stationed on. Wait, I was on the USS
called?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was on the USS Missouri. I was on the USS Independence. I was on the Supply.
What'd you do?
Yeah. We drove stuff around, mostly camels.
They outfit this ship with, quote, special hatches, stable areas, and a camel car. I got this whole, like, all of this whole bit of American history I have never heard of before. And I had such a blast researching because it's insane. Have you ever heard of this stuff? Any of this?
I've not heard of the camel car. No, this is all news to me.
So Major Wayne, who was one of the two guys from earlier, he's put in charge, and he goes to Goleta, which is in the Gulf of Tunis, near Tunisia, I assume.
Yeah, sure.
Where he buys the first 3 camels.
3.
Yeah. Now this is the beginning.
I mean,
so
I could probably buy a camel for 10 grand today if I wanted to.
He did not blow the whole budget. He, I don't know why he only bought 3, but he bought 3.
There are wiles to be had in Tunisia. I will say this much.
I did spend money. Yeah. Not all of it was on camels.
Yeah,
I did.
I did spend the budget, the 30,000, and because I spent, I will need another 30,000 next year to buy 3 additional camels.
They later discover that 2 of the 3 camels are infected with the itch,
which is, I mean, that's what you're afflicted with currently.
Which is also what Wayne, it's what I am afflicted with, but also I think Major Wayne was afflicted with it. They're getting fucking 3 camels out of Tunisia.
I'm sure the Tunisians were like, "Oh, you want camels? Yes."
Well, do you have $30,000? Oh, you
yeah.
do? These are the ones that cost that.
Yeah. Thank goodness you have $30,000 because that is what 2.5 camels cost nowadays.
So for 5 months, then they sail around the Mediterranean and they're buying camels everywhere.
Oh, okay. I thought they were taking the camels on a tour. It's like,
well, in a way they are.
Like they got Bob Hope on deck, telling jokes and stuff.
USO is there. Hey, look at this. So they go to Malta, Greece, Turkey, Egypt, And I have a fun photo, a picture for you. It's not a photo, but I have a fun picture for you. It's a lithograph
Mhm.
of what it looked like when they were were buying camels and bringing them onto the boat. So let's do find that real quick.
If this is just like a photo of Noah's Ark, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. Just so you know.
That would be funny, but
no, that's just it's just one.
Even worse.
Yeah, just one camel with
Just one camel.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gentlemen in charge of shoving one camel onto a boat.
And you can tell now 5 of these men are from the American West. You can tell by their hats and bandanas and matching their matching uniforms. And this man is from the Middle East. You can tell that by his little fez,
obviously, yeah,
and the flowing gown that he wears.
And you can also tell because he is the only person who is pulling the camel onto the boat. The other 5 are pulling the camel off of the boat for some reason.
I don't know. Why are they pulling this rope? What are they?
What's the goal here exactly?
It's not the most efficient expedition the U.S. has ever done.
It does look like the most lopsided tug of war match I've ever seen in my entire life. This one man in a fez is like, I will challenge you and your 4 brothers and a camel to a tug of war match, and I think we will see who the real man is here.
Yeah.
I wonder who wins.
It's hard to say. Let's read on and find out. So, okay, here's a quote. Most of the quotes in this story, and I think this one comes from the U.S., the official U.S. Army history website. Quote, after numerous difficulties involving a lack of suitable animals and obtaining export permits, the expedition...
Wait. What country's over there enforcing export permits when you show up with 30 grand and all you want is dirty old camels?
They're just fucking with them. They're like, oh, okay, yeah. Do you have your export permits? How do I get those?
Oh, those are pricey. Those are pricey.
This is also like 1840.
Yeah.
So with difficulties involving those things, the expedition finally acquired through purchase and as gifts a sufficient number of camels. In all, they obtained 33 animals.
$1,000 a camel.
Yeah.
It's like $1 million nowadays.
It's a bad deal.
This is awful. This is such like a rebound purchase after the Louisiana purchase. They're like, you know what?
That's right.
I feel like I'm on a spree right now. I feel like I can do no wrong.
I don't care how this goes. How much money I got to spend. I'm doing it. So on the trip home, the weather was so bad it took them 3 months to get back to the U.S.
And how many of the 33 camels survived 3 months?
All
months
but
at sea.
one.
Okay.
One camel died, if you can believe it.
Was it one of them with the itch, by the way?
Probably.
I mean, at this point, they all have the itch. Let's just admit it. They're all
That's right.
They're all very itchy camels.
But 6 calves were born, so the net gain is 5.
Yeah, totally.
Except 4 of those calves died, so 2 of them lived. So the net gain is 1.
4 of those delicious camel calves died. That seems a little suspect to me.
4 of those veal camels died? Yeah. I don't think so.
I've been at sea for 8 weeks. Eating nothing but hardtack and drinking seawater. And that's looking mighty nice to me.
Yep. So all in all, the expedition is up 1 camel. And according to the Army Historical Foundation, quote, all of them were in better health than when they left their native soil, which I personally find very hard to believe.
Absolute bullshit. You put me on an airplane for 6 hours and I get off in 10 times worse shape than I started.
There is no fucking way.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So,
yeah. Anyway, this very much sounds like a story that you tell to your boss when you show up at the port. And they're like, what the fuck did you bring over here? Like,
you should have seen them when I got them in the Middle East, boss. Yeah. Oh, boy.
They were so, just skin and bones, really.
One of them
But
had a bone fall off, but we got
yeah.
it back in there, and it's fine now.
Few months of eating seagulls, and these guys just popped right back up. Really?
So they get to Texas, and they begin to train the camels in military service.
Like mine sweeping and stuff? What are they doing with these camels exactly?
Yeah, I think so. And again, as I'm reading this, I'm dying because
You're like, we're trying to teach them all the same horse stuff, but they keep smoking cigarettes the whole time, and it's getting kind of gross.
And that's how they got their first endorsement deal. But no, it's so crazy. And so there's so much more that we can't even begin to get into about this, but this is the highlight. So they they're training the camels in military service, and thus was born the United States Camel Corps.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which is a good name. That's a solid name.
That is pretty solid.
So they unload the camels in Indianola, Texas, but they herd them over to Cape Verde to a military base that came to be known as the Camel Station.
I'm just at this point stunned that DreamWorks has not turned this into some sort of a production yet.
There have been a couple of movies about this, but like not since like the 60s, so they were all not good.
Yeah.
This is ripe for someone.
Please.
There's a movie called Humps, which I have never seen, but it has Slim Pickens is in it. It's HAWMPS exclamation point, which is about this. I've not seen, but that seems like the best version so far. But
well, you got like 4 weeks off school coming up, so you can probably find time to stream Humps.
Yep,
I can go back to watching old Slim Pickens movies. You weren't letting the strike interfere with watching old Slim Pickens movies from before like your parents were born, right?
I would never. God, Slim Pickens, what a gem. So anyway, so while the camels are being trained, the officers sent men back to get more camels because they're like, this is going to work. We don't have to even see this through. This is going to work for sure. The second expedition brings 40 more camels. And so the total number of camels, like some live and some die, whatever. But the total number of camels in the U.S. Camel Corps now is up to 70.
Oh, wow. Goodness gracious. They got
the
good
camels.
Ones. Yeah. Like rabbits. Jesus.
Yeah. So, and that's part of the plan. Like they'll come here and they'll mate and they'll have more. And then, this is great. So the training for the camels goes surprisingly well. They're obviously, they're good at covering desert terrain, which is
right.
The point.
Yeah. But now I'm seeing the obvious problem of there are currently 70 of them. And how long do they take to go from like one side of the desert to the other? I'm going to think a month minimum.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Pretty fast.
But then you got to come back to pick up more people. I can't imagine the whole lot of people in California that are like, oh, I really want to get to Oklahoma,
Yeah, I think the plan here is not to bring people, it's to bring supplies. Like to be the horses of the desert.
Oh, okay, basically. To make it profitable. I
ride them and bring, and then once you get to California, though, what do you do with the camels? Which I want to put a pin in that question because that's going to be important shortly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the camels are good at covering desert, obviously. They also, though, found food there, which no one was expecting. The camels started eating the creosote bush, which is also called greasewood. Sounds delicious. Most animals will not eat this, but camels will.
Creosote is actually they turn that plant into the oil they seal railroad ties with. It is so.
I knew creosote from something.
Yeah, it is so like harsh and just extremely acidic and nasty. And apparently camels can't get enough of it.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah,
and
it's wild they became the spokesperson for a cigarette company at the end of the day. It's completely insane.
Actually, a lot of sense. It's a lot of sense suddenly. Oh, none of this is killing the camel, so you'll probably be fine.
Yeah, so they love the strychnine bush too. It's really weird. I don't know.
They love that fucking arsenic pond.
Drink ammonia right out of your canteen. It's wild.
But apparently this makes a lot of sense. So to me, like, I learned so much new shit researching this. The thing that I was most surprised by was this fact, which is that turns out we in North America did actually have a genus of camel that was native to North America.
Before this?
Yes. Now, it did go extinct 11,000 years ago.
Oh, okay. So we just missed it.
Yeah, we just barely. But there was a camel here, and that version of the camel is called a camelops.
Camelops?
Camelops.
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 Now, I'll be perfectly honest. That would have been a lot cooler name for this group.
Correct.
You got to admit.
Correct. Capitalize the O, but still keep it one word.
I'm thinking they would have gotten funding about 2 decades earlier if they'd said, we want to start the Camelops. Oh,
this is cool. Like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the camels do great. Now there's a lot of exhausting detail on the Army History website, which I'll link to in the show notes. Please feel free to knock yourself out if you're into camel stuff. And it is interesting. Robert E. Lee was involved. So
interesting.
A lot of Confederate interest here. Yeah. But anyway, so the camels did great. The problem was all the Army officers were like, I don't want to use a herd of fucking camels. I've never seen a camel. I don't know a camel. I'm not doing a camel. I'm not doing camel stuff. They think it's ridiculous. Now, Jefferson Davis is like, you have to use camels. And he's head of the war. He's Secretary of War. Like,
I'm the boss.
Yeah, he's like, I'm the boss. You have to, so he's doing everything he can to get everyone to use camels. He's like making it contingent, like their salaries are contingent on using camels.
Your bonus this year, your KPIs,
your KPI is camels touched.
Yeah.
And all soldiers like absolutely not. So it's uphill battle. So they're doing this because they think it's good. Blah blah. Anyway, but then 1861, yes, the South secedes from the Union. And the Civil War begins, and suddenly Jefferson Davis and Robert E. Lee have other things to do. And
I'm hoping that they don't march these camels into battle at some point, because this is going to be the saddest end to the DreamWorks movie ever. This is how it all
we may
goes
have
down.
to take some liberties to the DreamWorks version. Yeah. No, so they start a Civil War. So the Camel Corps is abandoned, basically. It ends abruptly. Now, obviously, the camels are still there. They haven't,
right.
They haven't vanished.
They haven't seceded. Sure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and so they're I assume not great on the battlefield. And here's a quote from the Army Historical Foundation again. Quote, "The advent of the Civil War effectively halted the camel experiment. Rebel troops occupied Camp Verde on 28 February 1861 and captured several of the remaining camels." Because, again, these are U.S. camels.
Sure.
But now the South has seceded. And so the people who are running most of the camel areas are no longer part of the U.S.
Yeah.
So these are U.S. camels being
misappropriated
by the Confederacy.
They're taking anything that's not nailed down.
So he captured several of the remaining camels, using them to transport salt and carry mail around San Antonio. The camels suffered greatly at the hands of their captors, who had an intense dislike for the animals. They were badly mistreated, abused, and a few of them were deliberately killed.
Oh, no.
So in case you needed like one additional reason to hate the Confederates, killed these camels on purpose.
God, damn.
So the camels are U.S. property. Oh, yeah, we talked about that. So the Union eventually is like, these are our camels. We don't want them to be killed. Can we just please fucking sell these things? So they put the camels up for auction.
I'm just imagining it at the end of the Civil War, like Lincoln is reading off all of the like reparations, you know, and he's like, and number 77, that all camels are returned. And the Confederacy's like, oh,
we can't really. That's the stick. That one is the sticking point for us.
Bad news about the camels, guys.
So they sell 37 of them for $1,945 or $52.56 per camel.
They paid $1,000 per camel initially. This is just like,
Well, it's a write-off.
this is pure government pork right here.
Yeah, it's a write-off.
Whatever the pork version of camel is. I don't know. I wonder, does camel have, like how like a cow becomes beef and a pig becomes pork?
Yeah.
There's got to be like camel becomes like,
What would you call it?
boy, it's going to be a gross name if I have to say off the cuff. Like cow beef,
Now they
pig
eat
pork,
creosote.
camel, cork. It's going to be cork. I'm going to say, yeah.
Now that will be confusing because there is a different material called cork.
I mean, there's not a very high education level in the South at this point, so they're probably like, it's
okay,
basically the same thing.
All right, I'll allow it.
Anyway, let's go cut up some cork steaks, boys.
Now the rest of the camels were quote unquote recovered after the war. And they were auctioned as well, but they only fetched $31 per camel.
Oh my gosh.
Camel market moves fast.
Clearly, yeah. They are the Bitcoin, they're the Bitcoin of hooved creatures, clearly.
That's right.
So
the camels ended up in circuses, giving rides to children, living on private ranches, working as pack animals for miners and prospectors, or running in, quote, camel races.
Okay.
Which sounds pretty cool.
Say, yeah. The entertainment options in the 19th century, probably not as cool as camel races, just across the board.
That was a good one. So it's all these things are big draws of the public. So they become very common attractions in California, and really the whole West, but mostly California. But eventually the curiosity wears off. And so people stopped coming to see the camels.
Mm-hmm.
So many of the camels were, quote, turned loose in the wild to fend for themselves.
Which
is, it's not ideal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it is about 20 years later that a woman was trampled to death on a ranch by a great reddish creature in Arizona. And the sightings of what came to be known as the Red Ghost began. Again, the skeleton riding the red beast starts to terrorize the desert. And if you want to say something?
This is a bit of a leap. I'll be honest. I mean, this is, I don't really know. Like, I don't know a whole lot about camels. I mean, I know,
I haven't drawn a connection.
2 humps,
yet.
1 hump.
They might, hey, as far as you know, these might be unconnected, unrelated.
Sure, right. But again, I just want to make it clear for everybody. Camels generally very like tangible in size, right?
Sure.
Horse-ish.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Apartment building sized camels? Not familiar. Unless, wait, are we talking about giraffes?
Because this whole thing was a diversion. And here's the prestige. It was giraffes.
The whole time. What would giraffe meat be called? Jork? Anyway.
I think you can't keep using pork as the the foundational part of this. Giraffe meat. I was gonna say like spotted or something. That's not good. Giraffe meat would be
jerky.
Sure. Okay. So a few months into the sightings, a group of 5 men shot at this creature. And they were aiming to kill it, obviously, but they missed. But they did shoot the head off the skeleton, clean off. They did love that. They were very proud of themselves. And the creature runs off, but these men investigate the skull that they found, and they saw there was some hair and skin still attached. Sightings of this red creature and the skeleton, sometimes headless skeleton, riding it went on for 10 years until a farmer named Mizu Hastings found the monster on his property. Takes his gun, he draws a bead, kills it in a single shot.
Wow.
And that is when they discover, of course, that the beast The red ghost of Arizona is a camel. Quote, with leather straps on the side stuck so tight that it was scarred. It remains unknown why a dead man was attached to the back.
Wow.
Still today, from time to time, someone will go out hiking in the Sonoran Desert, and just as the sun starts to set, they will look out over the dry, dusty landscape, and they will see a bleach white skeleton riding the ghost of a great red camel through the scrub. The red ghost of Arizona lives on today. Actually going to Arizona this week as listeners listen to visit Luna, Stephen Luna, as you know.
Sure.
Quartzsite is not near him, but we're gonna have a car, so we might go out to where this kind of centered. I might find the red ghost. They
at least have some.
Go ahead.
No, I'd say we're at least maybe have some cork steaks while you're out there.
Yeah, if I can find some. The people of Quartzsite did say we should put up a sculpture of the red ghost, and so they did that. So I do want to, before I leave you here, I want to show you that. Here's the sculpture of the red camel.
Okay. So what I'm seeing here right now is a statue of a camel made out of, I'm going to be very generous and say spray painted car parts.
Okay.
I see a muffler to the right. I see a bunch of pulleys that comprise the body, and some brackets that comprise the hips and legs. Spray painted brilliant red.
Yeah.
Just an absolute cardinal red.
And
baking in the sunshine.
In the street, basically. When I read there was a statue of this thing, I was like, well, they made they must have cast it in bronze and the whole thing, and they put it up. No, it's this. Mm-mm. It's an art project.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say high school art project is where we're gonna rank that guy right there.
Yeah, which is disappointing. Mm-hmm. But that is the story of the red ghost of Arizona, which apparently, supposedly, still wanders the desert today. Any questions, any concerns? I do want to remind you that we still have to record last week's episode tonight after drinking so much.
No concerns. No concerns. Lots of questions, no concerns.
Is This a Ghost is research. This one was researched, I would say, by me, Clayton Smith. All the funny jokes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm back at it. I'm back, baby. All the funny jokes are from Patrick Dean. Our audio editor is Jeremy Montoya. Our video editor is Jen Swanson. We are so grateful for them. And we'll be back next week. Gosh, we'll be deep in January. Boy, we sure will be, with another, I bet, great episode of Is This a Ghost?
My basement gets a little bit more haunted every time we do this.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good motif for us.
It's getting a little bit more like Eastern European hostile every time.